Oh.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? I know some of us are doing absolutely spectacular. Um, we could rank it. We could rank people. I'm just gonna put when it comes to the level of quote unquote spectacular. We'll put Nick at number one. Nick, you can be the most spectacular right now. Yeah, you take that slot. Who wants to be the
Oop.
second most spectacular at the moment? Jake's actively sick at the moment. So Jake, do you want to be the second most spectacular?
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right, cool. Cell is a zoomer, so that comes with its own inherent. Yeah, so we'll just give it to him
Hey,
because
I'm fully vaccinated
listen,
in
we
about 2 weeks.
we can't
So
give you last place because if we do, you'll complain about it.
I
As
need my
zoomer,
participation reward, okay?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
otherwise I'll cry in the corner, okay?
you're getting it by being
Besides the
put in
point
third
that,
place.
Gen X is the one that gave us those rewards, but that's besides the point.
Gen X who still doesn't want to get vaccinated. Like we will never reach herd immunity here in the United States, at least not for generations, because we have to wait until like the next generation is forced vaccinated before they're allowed into school, and then the generation after that gets it, and then finally we'll start hitting numbers that actually will acquire us to herd immunity. Like we can't even get to 70%. Like it's not gonna happen. So, you
We
know,
can pray.
does that help?
No, considering I don't really believe in much. It's just like it's a phrase.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
thing you say.
Okay, you just say it. Okay.
Just
So, what is herd immunity? Oh boy. Nick, you want to take this one?
Yeah, it's the thing Sweden tried and failed at.
Oh, ho, ho! Oh shit! Oh, 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 Jesus. I did not expect that. Oh,
it hurts because it's so true.
it's so true. It's so true. Oh, boy. Wow. Wow, that was good.
Getting a bit red.
Oh, God.
So
That was so good. All right. Well, the herd immunity is when enough people are inoculated or have a degree of immunity against a virus or disease or whatever it is that's communicable, and that even if you yourself are not immune to it or have like resistance to it, they kind of like form like a bubble around you. So like the likelihood of you coming across somebody with the virus is slimmer than the likelihood of your network of people coming across it. So even if you yourself don't have the immunity, those around you do. So they kind of like stop the virus from coming into you because they kill it before it gets to you through contact. That's the general idea. Is it's just like they put you in a bubble of herd immunity. Either way, wow, that was pretty funny. That was really good. Oh, you know what it is. People are dumb. Oh, I'm sorry, Roz. I just assumed that you lived in New Zealand and you guys didn't have to learn about these things because you live on a goddamn island. But you are rather close to the Galapagos, so that's where a lot of things come from. Because that's like the most biodiverse place on the planet.
no, they're not.
Yeah, the Galapagos is like just north of Australia. Am I crazy?
Yes, the Galapagos Islands are northwest of Ecuador, on the other side of the Pacific.
Galapagos. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're very wrong. I know where they are by heart. I know the map of the Earth very well.
That's funny. Um,
Are you thinking the Great Barrier Reef?
no, I'm not thinking of the reef.
Then I have no idea what you're thinking of because the Galapagos are not there.
Holy shit, they are so far from there.
They're on the other side of the Pacific, as I said,
Yeah, they are.
northwest
they're
of
off
Ecuador.
of Ecuador. Yeah. What am I thinking of?
I have
I
no
think I'm just
idea.
stupid.
It could
Oh,
be.
you know what I thought of? This is really
What?
bad because it's not the same at all. I thought of Papua New Guinea.
What?
Yep.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's-
Which is just north of
okay.
Australia. Yep. I don't know why.
That would hurt me.
Can we delete this off the pod?
Can we delete this
Can
from
we
our
just
memory?
pretend like this wasn't streamed?
Oh my god, that was
Yeah.
America, everyone.
Yeah.
America at its finest.
Can we just
There
get
you
one of
go.
those confidently wrong memes going for Scott now?
Confidently wrong. Nice. Ouch. Well, that was actually just mentioned in the newest John Oliver. He was talking about men with such confidence. Like, if you don't watch John Oliver, it's lost. But
I saw it. It was funny.
So I have to say that I recently started using Curiosity Stream. I talked to you guys about this just before we went live. I don't know who in chat uses Curiosity Stream or not. I know they would never partner with me because, like, one, I'm not big enough, and two, I am way too vulgar, I think, for who it is that they usually do educational stuff. But I won't lie. Like, having a streaming service of nothing but documentaries is awesome. And not like documentaries that are like documentaries so you can convince yourself that it's okay to watch, even though it's not really watching it because it's a documentary, like about like the life of prostitutes that are, or like the sex what's what I'm looking for. Like porn or anything like that. Like not those kind, like actual documentaries about like animals and plants and society and science. It's like good shit.
Listen, Taxi Cab Confessions was a valuable source.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like that is not. It's technically a documentary. It's not the documentary I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So, yeah, no. But you know, there's gonna be a documentary called OnlyFans. You know, there's going to be. There has to be. It's already blown up in such a way for as long as it has. This is gonna be one of like the next 2 years. So, but Jake has literally said, I think, 7 words since he hopped on the call.
About.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's fulfilling his duty as Jake to speak the least out of everyone.
Is considered a word, Nick, or is that just
I would think so. It's like you wouldn't count like a grunt as a word, you know?
I mean, depends on the grunt. Like if the grunt is like that's a word, right?
No.
It's a word out of the 90s.
Sorry. What year are we in?
You guys get it.
I don't.
Thank you. And for everybody in chat that got it right away.
I literally didn't live in the 90s.
I know. If it conveys an idea, then yes. Of course you get it, Green. I said the 90s, not the 60s, but okay. All
That's
right.
just mean.
But Green knows that that's playful jabbing. I only playfully jab at Green. I don't get bad. So, speaking of bad, my jokes are awful. Why don't we where did we leave off? It was a long weekend. Sel, where did we leave off? I'll throw this one to you.
Oh,
because you're number 3.
Okay. Well, 4. There's 4 of us.
You're number 3.
Yes.
I'm the least spectacular, remember?
So last session we had a big learning session of how mass combat functions, and after we spent about 2.5 to 3 hours learning, it actually went pretty well and smoothly. We completely rolled the Orcish armies. We destroyed all 3 of them, and Jake's army literally ate all 3 of them. That's not figuratively. Literally ate them. And now it's up to, I guess, our current generals to decide what to do with the survivors of the massacre, which is not much. And then afterwards, I believe the plan is to have a meeting to discuss what's going on in the future, what our plans are. And I guess the only other note is that Naito saved as many of the Perrin as he could, which wasn't too many, but saved a few of them.
Oh yeah. We needed to go over that part. That's right. That's exciting.
Because the Perrin army was shattered by the orcs.
Yeah.
By the Kurk. It was like 50 to 200, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
It was something like that. It was like 50 to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
It was,
I'm really hoping that the broken chain lady sees you saving and coddling all those parents. So
she can
just wrap it up and turn it right back around.
She can see it all she wants, and you know what? If she has anything to say about it, she can fight Tessel and lose horribly.
That is confidence.
Hey, listen. I doubt she's level 5. Okay, that's all I got.
Wow, that was a typo.
Anyone who wants to make her a villain for Tessel, feel free, you know? They'll be 2 levels higher.
Don't.
Excuse me, how many villains did you actually deal with, Jake?
We fought 1.
Or Sugo, right?
Yeah, and then, yeah.
Yeah, and the rest of them kind of became other people's responsibility. Ask Green how the villains are treating him.
I mean, Orsugo kind of also became their responsibility to some extent. So
the fun part is Steve made Orsugo, and Orsugo is inside of Steve. Let's just say it burns.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
he is the boiling blood.
I put a pun in his bum. All right.
Okay.
Weird place to put a pun, but okay.
Yep. It's weird seeing Ano here. Ano hasn't been here for a live show in like a while. It's like weird seeing his name. I think it's almost like because Ano has so many daddies, it's like almost like you have to walk on eggshells. Now that he actually showed up, like he's usually sleeping, you know.
I can hear the Russian from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hear them just gulps of vodka. It's like
Yeah,
vodka and all right, cool. Let's get back into it. So literally picking up with where you left off with the lieutenant. Did I actually write down that lieutenant's name? I feel like I did. I think I wrote something seems to be wrong with the above roll. It failed. It failed verification. That's weird. I don't know if you guys see that or not. It was on April 27th at 1:30 a.m. Nick rolled a 1, and it literally underneath it has a box that says that. That's weird.
That's because that 1 wasn't enough failure. I needed to tack more failure onto that natty 1.
Oh, and we have how many died and were injured remaining, because that was how many were going to come with Jake. And what did we say with the third group? The third group, which is the smallest group, I think. It was the third big group, right? They were just utterly decimated.
Yeah. They were between between the pikes of my clan and the orcs of Varix.
Yeah, I think so. I'm seeing you guys whispering me all those stuff. I'm just trying to find. I'm pretty sure I wrote the person's name. God damn it! I'm pretty sure I wrote the person's name down for you guys. And I'm not seeing it at the moment. Did one of you guys write down what their name was?
Are you talking about Nick's commander?
No, the one that was a part of the group that you just saved them from.
Oh, the orcs that we were helping from the spearhead.
Let's take this back a step. Sorry, the Perrin that you were that you had saved the commander, the leader from. Did you write down their name?
Oh, I should have. I don't think I did. I'm really bad at notes.
Oh,
the one that made friends with Philia.
Correct. I thought I had written it in chat right beforehand, but I could be confusing this with the Inclame and what they had done prior.
No, did we even get a name for him?
I thought I could be confusing this with Inclame. So.
Oh, one other thing I was supposed to note. Iritho was in the army, in Jake's army, on off point. Jake wanted me to write that down.
Thanks for reminding me.
No problem, buddy. That's what I'm here for.
Okay. So let's do the name. So I'll actually allow for this lieutenant. I'll actually allow Joey to generate their name for him. So Joey, you can have fun with that one, sir, man, boy, sir. And let me just read something really quickly. This is...
I'll quickly look to see if I can find it in the logs.
Oh, I already looked there, so it's not there. I'm just reading one more thing, and then we can dive right back into it. Sorry for the hold up for you guys. Nope, not this. Nope, not this one. Because there's a whole bunch of FFs here that I need to take place in a different spot. Here we go. Lieutenant Centurion that Duram helped save. So it's a Lieutenant Centurion, and we need to just know that character's name. The name of the Lieutenant Centurion. And Joey can pick it. Cool. So anyways, the Lieutenant Centurion. Oh, and Joey, part of the name is it gives me a gender, so I have something to work with. So, I'll wait for you to respond. You got about 1 minute. In the meanwhile, Jake, was there anything with your guy there that you anything else that you needed to be done, or are we just tabulating how many lived and how many died?
I don't know. Irithel's there because he was sent to observe because he's a smartass who keeps talking shit.
Uh-huh.
So he has also is supposed to deal with the parent supplies as well because there was that wagon that he had sent people to. We talked them into coming here and rendezvousing with that army. So there's wagons full of supplies, that need to be cataloged and stuff.
Yep. Are you taking all of those supplies, or how is that going to be split between your nations and so on and so forth?
Well, I believe Irithel is dealing with that, so we'll see what he does, I guess.
I know what Erythel would do. All right, it's Julia Kruger. If you want to write that down, Sal.
Already copy and pasted.
So we're going to jump into that chat. Nick, who was it that you had sent to you? Yours was the nameless. I think you generated them a name, I think, recently. You actually sent a non-vital NPC, correct?
Correct. We named her Zara the Hobgoblin Lieutenant. There we go.
Oh, yeah, Zara. I love that name. God damn it, this chocolate is so good. I have to move it to the side. So, this is a conversation that Zara might not be a part of. Your guy there, Jake, he might want to be a part of it because he might want to be nom 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 nom. But we'll get into that in a minute. So, down to you, Sel. A lot of this RP has to actually kind of take place back at home with you guys there because they're going to want to return home with you. But kind of bringing it down to the level of what would kind of transpire, what the report would say. It would actually talk about when the retreat was happening, when they were trying to get away, and that the Karuk out of the Barren Lands, they would have actually continued to hunt them down. As we described beforehand, there were like 200 that were down off of the mountains, the hills, because they were actively hunting them down. And when they kind of saw you guys approaching, they kind of banded themselves together, pulled themselves together pretty tight to make sure that they could actually fight you as the battlefield played out beforehand. Did I ever fully describe out that battle before or no? I think I did at the end, but I can't recall at this point.
I think you did. Yeah.
Cool,
Yeah.
So
I watched the spoiler podcast.
Oh. So when they kind of they banded together, when you guys got there beforehand, they were kind of out in the fields and chasing them down and hunting. They were either killing them for sport, killing them for some degree of vengeance, or killing them for purpose, or just because they just wanted to make sure there was more meat for their tribe, whatever it was that they were doing. So when you came across, it wasn't just Julia, Lieutenant Centurion Julia, or the lieutenant that you came across. It was actually her and a couple of her personal guard that were able to get away. None of them uninjured. They had all seen, clearly you can tell by the blood on them and whatnot, that they had seen combat, or at least aided others that were injured. So there was just 4 people in that group right there that kind of came to you. From that point, and seeing who it was that kind of returns to Naito, and the significance of the person, that's when he finally kind of broke from what it was that him and the other leaders had discussed doing. He's like, no, we're going to spend some of our effort and some of our forces in collecting some of the injured people. This is this is an ally who's now at my more or less disposal, begging for aid. We can't now turn out haha, we can't now turn our back on him. He's too honorable for that. So that's when he kind of gave the orders to do so. She was extremely appreciative and even offered to fight in the upcoming battle, but they were all clearly too exhausted and too injured from literally fighting for their lives just prior, and they were kind of kept in back with the others that were more handling the wounded in the supply chain rather than the actual run up battle people, right? So more like where Naito himself was rather than down below and on the field. So the report that comes back kind of talks about the initial interaction. And the initial interaction would have been her, thanking him profusely for his coming to save and whatnot, and saying that you shall make sure that it's not forgotten those that kind of saved. However, for Naito, I need you to go ahead and roll me a oh, here comes the hype train. Whoop, whoop. If you want to go ahead and roll me a sense motive for Naito. And you had no other named NPCs there as well, did you?
Nope, just Naito.
Wow, already level 3. That's amazing.
Character sheet is taking forever to load.
That's roll 20,
Once
unfortunately.
more with feeling.
Joey is really going hard at the paint and trying to convince me to listen to Nick's brother. I don't remember the name of like Foundry or Foundation or something like that, but
Once more with feeling.
Nick J was trying to convince me to on one of the after my Wednesday stream, we like kind of the community gets together on like a hour long
Once
call,
more
sometimes
with
longer.
feeling.
And Jay sometimes comes by and hangs out for. Actually, I think he stayed on for like 2 hours this time. Like I was at
Wow.
work, I looked at my phone.
You realize that means you guys talk to my brother more than I do.
Once more with feeling.
Yeah.
As we both agree that we get along best when we don't speak.
Siblings.
Once more.
Roll the
with
nice
feeling.
5.
Rory's always asking, "Can I have a brother or a sister?" It's like you don't know what that means. Mind you, I have 5 siblings, so maybe I sound a bit greedy when I say no. But either way, you rolled a 5. Did you want to modify that at all?
Nope. I don't think it's worth getting a 10. I don't think it matters.
Okay. So you can just tell that she's clearly like she's a lieutenant Sartorian for a reason. It's not an incredibly high rank, but that's not a low rank either. So clearly they've earned this rank, and they're somebody that kind of surveys what's going on around them, and he can notice that she has a keenness to her. You know what I mean? Either way, anything beyond that wouldn't be anything that's really worth going beyond. Joey, don't worry, Joey. Soon there will be a specialized emote specifically for luck. So I promise it's coming eventually. I already 1 week later, I messaged the artist. Any questions? And from the artist's manager, because it's like an art group, the manager messaged me back with a whole bunch of emotes, said, "Hey, do you like round 2s of emotes?" And there were a whole bunch of somebody else's emotes. And I was like, wrong client. Like, but thanks for their artwork. Whoosh. I was like, delete. Anyways, yeah, the so you kind of get that, you know, he's not able to get any really strong read off of her, aside from her being extremely appreciative. And he offered for her to come back and kind of like recollect herself back at Shadow, Clan Shadow, which she intends to do as like a thank you. However, if she's coming back to Clan Shadow and you guys are just like picking the corpses of their dead, that could cause a problem. And he is fully aware of that. So kind of bringing this down and into the RP for the leaders about, hey, there's a whole bunch of dead Karak, you know, we're going to try to take as many of the living as we can. We're going to try to take as much of the supplies as we can. Woo, we raided a tribe. But also the supplies that came off of the trade group or whatever it is of Paradel. How is it your characters are handling this? And please, 3 PCs, remind me. I know we discussed beforehand, or at least maybe Nick bounced out early, so I don't think he was part of the discussion, but discussed beforehand about the emissaries.
Once more with feeling.
Were we also doing that same format for situations like this?
Yeah, I think what we talked about is it'd be like more of a brief conversation because like we don't want to be total control over NPCs that aren't ours because they're like their own things, but like the emissaries would be our people.
Yeah,
in a sense, total control.
We can dive further into that in a minute for the
Once
viewers,
more
but
with feeling.
for now, so with that being said, you want to we'll kind of dive into this. You're playing as Naito. You guys don't really have to role play. You're more or less kind of coming at it in a meta sense of the character's perspective.
Once more with
And
feeling.
your characters are playing as your own little leaders there. Jake, choose which one of the two. In this case, I imagine it'd be Arethel. Or actually, if you want, because you brought 2 with you, if you want to play as that one, I can actually play as Arethel as a second
Once
voice on
more
your
with
behalf.
feeling.
And
Yeah.
we can all kind of dive into this. So, Nick, you're Zara. I imagine she's lawful neutral, but I could be mistaken.
Sure.
All right, cool. So kind of like the situation is, and I'll kind of set it up for you. The situation is clearly the what was it called? The Karuk, the clan Densho immediately will start collecting things off the battlefield. That's what we do. You know, we killed Karuk. We're going to take their stuff. They're dead. You're not going to like eat all of them, of course. You know what I mean? Your army
Don't put
will.
words in my mouth, thank you.
We start from the balls and work our way up.
I mean, I assume they take the clan leader for Varix, or what's his face eats the clan leader there.
Well, that was what I was gonna say. Is I imagine it's the greatest warriors, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jake. Imagine it's the greatest warriors, the ones that like kind of were either giving command or were like the toughest opponents that they fought. Those are kind of like the people that you're going to be fighting against. They're going to be consuming.
Yeah.
Cool. Explain that ritual to me, and then we'll get into the next part.
The ritual.
Yeah, like how do they? Is it ritualistic consumption, or is it not, or is it just like nom?
I mean, in the heat of battle, they were like taking bites out of the others and stuff like that. But at the end, if there was a particular strong warrior or commander, they would, depending on if they were alive or dead, probably consume the heart. Yeah, I haven't really thought too much into it, but I probably should, considering my clan.
I mean, you literally made this clan just to make Norway upset. Maybe you should put some more thought into how it is you're going to.
I did not, thank you. Okay, I don't want Norway actually thinking I did that. All right.
Excuse me. Just actually give me one second. I'll let you guys kind of start that discussion amongst each other with Naito bringing up, being like, "Hey, so." We can't really just start taking all of the stuff from the surviving parent leader. They're probably going to have words to say with that, and we're kind of trying to form an allegiance with them for the sake of, my nation not being utterly obliterated in the future. I mean, we did kind of push them this direction, so kind of like started up that way. I'll be back in 1 second.
Naito would just say basically along the lines, it would probably be fair if we took a third or even more of the treasure, of the loot, as what Clan Cheetah would get, and we give it back to the parent, and the rest could be split amongst you two.
Yeah, I mean, Urza wouldn't care if you gave your own share away, but he's definitely not giving anything away. He's taking what's his.
Of course, yeah. He wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Zara basically has the same stance. That's your call as long as Kuchibachi gets his tribute.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you approached it in a good way, so you know what I mean, saying that you're going to give up your own, because if you tried to get Urza to give up any part of his own shit, he would have been like, "Fuck you."
Of course. Naito is a clean person, right? He's not stupid. He's like, I know the other two clans don't care about my Clan Shadow's morals, right? They don't matter. So
we're just different, all right?
Just
don't have to agree. We're just different.
So I mean, we're warlords. This is where we really make our money. So to be honest.
Yep.
So basically we split it in thirds, or along the lines, everything that Clan Shada would have gotten goes back to the parent.
That's a big decision. And would it really be thirds with how little that Kushibashi would have said? And this is actually Irithel would say, is it appropriate that we are breaking up when the numbers we have, and we consider the numbers that were brought to the battlefield?
Once more with feeling.
I said that poorly, but you know what I meant.
Yeah, Urza grunts.
Like, let me put it like this. Kushibashi's warriors are skilled because they sit upon animalistic warriors, not unlike our own. Says, looking at the feral people on the battlefield, says, they sent 50 in number, but we can call them 100 strong. That means they should get an equal share to you, shouldn't it? He says over to Naito. However,
did they send 20?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, how many
he
did he
sent
send?
20. He sent 20.
20 okay, so sorry. Rounding it 25, whatever, because you imagine scouts or whatever. Be like, they sent 25, with their, we could assume that they take, 50, with 50 being one share. That's half as many as you. That sounds like you would get 2 shares. And for us, well, we would get the boar's share, wouldn't we?
Yes, if you want to forget about the large force of Kuchibachi that's currently watching all of our backs right now.
He looks about for a moment and says, I'm sorry. Perhaps I've mistaken them with the rolling hills of nothing, since you're standing in the barren lands.
I believe we've all contributed equally in different ways to this endeavor.
Yes, that's true. While Clan Densho was pushing forward and attacking the enemy, I believe Kushibashi spent a lot of time retreating.
It's called hit and run tactics. It's that tactics thing I think that Densho may be lacking. And we can consider our share instructional fee on how to properly wage war.
You are utilizing our men as grunts so that you can keep yours safe. You were allowing us to take not just the share of... You were allowing us not to take the share of danger and responsibility, and so therefore we should take our share. So you were going to allow us to take our share of the riches. I mean,
really? That's interesting. I feel like we were sitting through 2 different battles. I watched Barrenland's tribe take on most of the risk and most of the danger, and you came in and mopped up after myself and Naito's armies were done assaulting the forces. That's how I saw it.
How Clan Densho recruits new would-be members is how Clan Densho does it.
I believe this bickering is pointless. Let us split it in thirds now and then discuss this with our warlords back at home. For it is not for us to choose how our wars are divvied up. For now, even is the best way we can go. And in the future, our warlords will make their decision on how we shall split the rewards of combat. If there's no disagreement, then I will be taking my third.
He shakes his head and says, "Oh no, you do what you feel is must. I hear the chains of Paradel calling."
He doesn't flinch at it. And he has his men start collecting the third.
When they're separated, he would kind of turn to, God, I can't remember your character's name there, Jake.
Are you talking about Urzog?
Urzog. He would turn to Urzog and just give him like a knowing look of like these soft fools. And after like Urzog's response or whatever,
Urzog kind of nods at him and he says, Urzog here to prove to Verix. You know Verix will. He told you.
I think Verix would want the peace. But they're underlings is all they are.
Naito weak. He doesn't have the stomach for this.
It's nepotism. It's pure nepotism. He has his position because he comes from the same loins. His father was able to release an extra load, and so therefore he has responsibility. His brother does the work.
Makes sense.
Makes his brother weak as well.
They both faint in hall.
He raises an eyebrow at that.
Did Naito faint as well at rather in our first session from the poison?
we both failed the poison.
Yeah. So he when you say about him, they're making him weak. He's like, yeah, they're both faint in hall.
Well, let them cozy up to Paradel. Let them keep their beds warm. It's a problem we'll have to deal with in the future.
Verix will know. We tell Verix.
Varix will know. I don't know how much he'll just listen to my word, but with our combined word, he'll certainly heed my advice. We need somebody in Clan Shadow moving forward. Somebody who can listen more often. Someone who could report back exactly how long each visit of the Perrin stay inside of Tessel's bed.
Why he deal with the parent?
It's incapable of showing them strength. Diplomacy
As
comes
time
in many
goes on.
ways, but bending backwards, offering them one's riches. I mean, these goods were won by our men, hence they helped. And so by diplomacy, we'll allow them to take their thirds. But understand it's by our graces.
Yes.
Kind of shakes his head, looking back at the group of them collecting their stuff off the field, and the parent helping him, do so. He's kind of shaking his head, ugh.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
And then he looks across the battlefield and sees one of your soldiers also consuming part of another one. And he's just kind of ugh. Either way.
What's the name of the NPC you're role playing right now, Scott?
Arithel.
Okay.
He's noting him down.
Oh yeah, no, Zara's totally reporting all of this back. And basically, if perchance, assassins happen to slip through my area and Arithel gets stabbed and shanked in the dark, it totally wouldn't be Kuchibashi at all.
That's funny.
We're about to get to player side.
God, this chocolate is so good. It's the plum and roasted almond. Oh my god, it's like somebody's orgasm in my mouth. So
You're welcome.
Well, it is nuts.
I stopped myself from drinking a sip of water because I knew you were gonna say something. I was this close. I'm I'm gonna wait a second.
It's so good. I won't lie. Tonight's a decadent night. I had sushi for dinner and I'm having this for dessert. It's like such a decadent night.
Sushi, man. I want some good sushi. I haven't had it in too long.
Well, Brittany's been making all these new recipes lately, and they're very healthy versions of Asian food. She'll make this more or less as the inside of a spring roll, and it's made with you don't use soy sauce or anything like that. You use alternatives that taste the same but are healthier for you. But there's no fried wonton or anything like that. It's just what would effectively be the inside. God, it's so good. I was Anyways, back to the game. So they kind of are going to be taking their their thirds. However, what amount of wealth is actually found here? Hell, this is actually going to come one of two ways. I have a baseline amount that chat is about to roll some dice on top of to increase. That's going to be divided, and anybody who throws BP right now by spending daddies will be added on to what it is. So they have probably about 5 minutes worth to add BP to increase the amount. Because remember, every time they spend BP, it goes to each one of you. So I'm going to do a poll that's literally just timer. So we're going to do poll. This poll is... Oh, wait. Oh, what was the hype train for? War leaders, right?
Oh, commanders.
Yeah, commanders. That's right. War commanders. I think Nick got one so far, right? No, Jake got one so far. That's right. And you guys are each allowed 2, I think? Or 3? 2? Oh. So Jake, Nick, and Sel. And I'm actually going to make this a 5-minute timer for in case people want to put that on there. This is their timer. So once this poll is done, I'll stop taking to add on for this is where it's coming from. And they might do 0. All right. So it's a real poll with a timer for the other thing. Back to the game. So the baseline that's going to be added on. So for the BP that you guys find, because of, again, this is an incredible number of people. It's an actual legitimate tribe. It's a tribe that kind of like died coming into it. And all of them bringing their supplies and whatnot here. So we're opening up with this being 8 BP plus what chat rolls. Each member in chat is going to roll 1d6. Each one of you have to choose one person in chat to roll. Sorry, Green. I always forget about that because I think it only happens to you.
Xylemos, my friends.
So
I
Zalamos
choose
is
you.
D6. All right. Oh my god. Oh my god. So good. Who else?
Viking here today.
Why do the polls
Yes,
kill the
he
stream for you,
is.
Norway? Like, are you watching mobile? Is that why? I haven't seen Viking yet. Oh, yeah, Viking is here. Cool. And Nick?
A D6. Xylemos.
Nick is choosing wisely. A 1? Xylemos, you suck. Yeah! True blue. True blue. Nick,
Yeah.
choose wisely.
I knew Xylemos was gonna get a 1.
No.
Guys are
See,
15 right
I
now.
know none of you people voted for me, so
Oh, I guess maybe choose yourself. Oh, wait. Nick, I voted for you just now. Do you want me to do it?
no, that'll hurt me even worse. Go ahead, Joey.
I rolled a 3. All right. Once Joey rolls, we'll know exactly how many BP are being split evenly amongst you guys. Currently, it's at 15. Wow, Joey. Wow.
So it's at 17.
It says 17, which means there's an uneven split amongst you guys. So since there's an uneven split, one of you guys has to get less BP. And since, you know, the person that rolled the worst is the one that Cell picked.
I mean, that's going to the parent anyway, so.
I mean, it's fair
Well,
enough.
that's funny. No, now it can't be Cell. See, one of you guys have to suffer because of Cell.
Nope.
It's not my fault that we have uneven. Actually, it is my fault. I rolled a 1.
Okay, so Cell, that's fine. So you guys each get, what would that be?
They each get
5. 6.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they each get 6. I get 5.
You get 6 BP added onto your characters from winning this, and that is because that's because of the circumstance of how this works. Again, remember that because of the circumstance of this, it was way more intense than it usually would be because they're literally bringing supplies and whatnot there. When you're actually looking at victory, which is page 9, which I think
Unless
is
the
11.
parent wants to, give me a gift for my helping of them, Never know.
It's the parent, buddy. They're taking it.
So
I know.
the big question is, did the actual leader amongst the orcs live or die amongst the Karak? Because that's actually an important.
I thought when we rolled for him and he died, but I could be wrong.
Did we already roll?
We didn't
for him?
roll for him. We rolled for the parent commander who died.
Oh.
They actually had 100% casualties, but because of reasons,
Yep.
they're not dead.
Yeah, the commander happened
The
to
orc,
live.
the orc commander has not even been talked about.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
So
Then
good. I'm listening.
then we have to roll. I think it's like 30% chance they die.
No, because there's because they were massacred. I think there's a different rolling to it. I'm actually just trying to find that right now.
It'd be an ultimate battle.
I'm actually in Ultimate Battle right now. I don't want to spend too long with this. I'm fine with it being a 30% chance dead, then it's a 40% chance captured, and then the top 30% chance they get away, I think is what it is. I think it's 30, 40, 30 is how it goes. So that being said, Jake, I want you to pick somebody in chat to roll for you for this, but I want you to tell me 25% chance to die is what he's saying. I'm trying to find where this is on here. So Joey, instead of saying the numbers, if you know where it is, so I can grab it real quick, or what category it's under.
Let me get Roz to roll.
Roz, so Roz is gonna be a D100 from you. That would be awesome. Thank you so much.
And what do you want me to say? What's what? 1 to 25 is dead.
All right, so low is dead, then the higher up it goes, the more likely they are to survive or whatever it is. Beautiful. Yeah. I appreciate that. Distinction.
99.
Cell, you're gonna get the new
Oh!
commander. Wow.
He's alive and
They-
caught.
No, 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 no.
That's
But
alive and
He got
escaped.
away.
It's alive and escaped.
Damn.
Yes.
I thought it was tiered differently. All right.
Yeah.
No,
It's
99 is alive and living, boys.
yep. It's alive and got away. So you have another. What's your character name? Urzog out there somewhere, which is pretty funny.
I forgot about that.
That's so great. Oh my god.
Wow, that's another person that could be sponsored in the future. Somebody write that down. And Roz, since you let this
Let's Cell fight his own battles. Thank you. All right.
since Roz, you let this one live, you can name the character, and Jake can write down the note of this character's name that lived. All right, awesome. Back to the game. So this is the game. He gets away. You guys gather your supplies. Jake and Nick actually pull in some decent loot. That's 6 BP. It's your characters. But because you actually are that town itself, their tribes don't make permanent structures. They make temporary structures. But Jake, what I should know is because of the temporary structures that are there, the number of Karuk that you might happen to take into your fold, you actually might be able to take the supplies that are here and utilize them to make tenements at your home for free, costing you no BP.
Okay.
So you can actually get free tenements for any new people that are joining your population. So that being said, you can make... let's look at how many people are actually joining your group. So for the first army you decimated, scrolling back up again, give me one moment. For the first army you decimated, they are... Shit, just lost it. I had the percentages killed and whatnot just a moment ago. Here we go. So the first army you beat, it was the there's a group of 200. We said 40% of them dead. So 4 times 2 is 80 of so out of the 200, 80 of them are dead. 30% of them, so that's 60 of them were heavily injured, which means that your characters probably moved in and murdered them. And of the remaining, what would that be? 30%. So about 60 of them were able to kind of like survive and get away. Okay, you guys because you didn't go chasing and hunting them down, you just slaughtered the injured ones that stayed behind. The same thing's true for the group of, what was it, 50? Was that the smallest group you fought?
Yeah.
20%, so 10 died. 10%, so 5 were slaughtered. And the remaining ones, these are the guys that are kind of held out pretty well against you, but also did no damage to you. Most of them were able to escape and get away. And the last group, we didn't even roll. We just said you utterly slaughtered them. But as for the group that you were there helping, did we roll how many of them were heavily injured? Jake, do you recall?
No.
All right, cool.
They were. I'm
Bloody.
pretty sure they were. Yeah, they weren't massacred or whatever. They just lost.
Yeah. I don't even think they lost, and they actually delivered the killing blow. If you remember, they were the ones that brought the army down to the point where you just consumed them. They actually got a critical hit at the end.
They destroyed each other.
Yeah. It was actually really impressive that they got the critical hit at the end. So that means that when this one's dead, 10% of the army is dead. So that group was, how many did I say originally? About 100?
Yeah.
Okay. So between the amount dying, so on and so forth, there's about 85 there. Would your clan try to absorb some of the ones that you defeated as well?
Yep.
How would you go about doing that with Urzog?
Urzog would probably offer him a choice. I'd say in the Barrenlands, especially when clans clash, they need members. You know what I mean? So they're probably given a choice: flee, die, or join. Strength goes a long way in the Barrenlands, so they kind of let that speak for themselves, I assume.
Okay. So let's try to see right here, because he could technically, because I understand what you're saying. You're more or less just saying, yeah, let it speak for itself. But I think it kind of comes down to a check. And because he has this feat right here, I'm fine with that check being literally a strength check for him, because he doesn't have diplomacy. He does have intimidate, but it's not. I'm fine with it being a strength check for him.
Let me open his thing up. You want me to roll it?
Yeah.
All right. You want me to roll a strength check? Okay.
See.
For Urzog. 7.
Well, he tried to convince others to join the group as they were kind of like fleeing and running away. But instead of joining the group, they all just kind of like fled. They actually did run off, so they didn't join. So your group was able to grab up the you're more or less able to buy grab one tenement house for free, and the number of population that increases from that will be what you add to your clan's population size. So as this upcoming kingdom roll, you get a free tenement house added on, no cost whatsoever. You just boop, throw it on there, which of course does cause a degree of unrest, as tenement houses usually do, but you can work through that normally. And it happens during the building phase, not the upkeep phase. So it happens later on. Cool?
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Anything else your characters want to do here? Or are we heading you home?
Oh, we forgot. Tactics. Do we get a tactic for winning or something? How do we learn
Yeah,
tactics?
you do. There's actually a thing there that you would be able to get. So for the tactics, it's let's see. It's based off of victories. So give me 1 second. So it's every time tactics differ from individual unit can unit can select one tactic each battle phase, and in order to use a tactic, covering. This doesn't say how you learn them. I think that how you learn them stays true from the original sites, the website, the PFSRD version. Fighting in command, combat, execution, ransom. You guys didn't catch any commanders, that doesn't matter. Manpower, attrition, fame and infamy. We're going to deal with that with Jake in a minute. Pillage and plunder. Oh, yeah. Pillage and plunder. These spoils are BP equal to 1/4 the ACR of the army that's defeated, or 1/2 the ACR of the army that has been disbanded or destroyed. The armies you guys were fighting, that's where the valuables that you just came from, and then you got the additional from, as I just described, from the rolling the dice. It just could have been better. In addition, an army of 50 more soldiers can be sent into a hex containing terrain improvements, spending a week burning fields, slaughtering herds and whatnot, tearing down buildings, wreak havoc. All terrain improvements in that hex and the area's commander are destroyed unless the kingdom a stability check, which is nobody left behind. Pillaging armies are earned 1 BP for their kingdom for each improvement that they destroy. So I mean, you're just kind of stealing the improvement being tenements, and you're bringing it back home to you, which is what we kind of just discussed there. So that's kind of like the end of it there. Prisoners of war, you're not doing that. Forced labor. It must be inside the PDF. Do any of you guys have that pulled up or no?
I do not.
Okay.
Which PDF?
Mass combat. Oh, not PDF, sorry. I meant the website. Unless you can think of something else, army tactics are earned, I believe, from victories. Tactics are used for an army can know a number of tactics equal to half of its ACR, minimum 0. When a battle begins, the commander selects one tactic. We already discussed all this stuff. Scrolling to the bottom.
Yeah, I don't see where it says where you learn a tactic.
Yep. I'm trying to find. God damn it. Learn. It's actually annoying the shit out of me that we don't have this known. I thought we actually knew this before.
Um,
I'm so sorry, everybody. I actually thought this is the shit I just read.
in order to use a tactic, a unit must be trained in it, either when it's created through training or through victory in combat in battle.
Yep.
Up to a maximum number of tactics equal to its ACR. All armies know full defense, furious charge, retreat, standard, and withdrawal tactics.
Mm-hmm.
These tactics, so it just says you learn them in combat. It doesn't. So, like, I guess you learn them just like if you're in a combat, and it's relevant to what you're doing in the combat. You can pick a tactic that your army knows. That's what it sounds like. Or your enemy was doing said
What book
tactics,
is this
so you
in?
learned it. This is Ultimate Battle, page 8. It's in
I'm
it's
on 8
the
here. Yeah, I see this.
second paragraph of the left column.
Must be trained in it either when it is created through training or through victory in battle, up to a maximum tactics equal to its ACR. That's actually different from what I read before. It was half ACR. All armies, no full defense, furious charge, retreat, standard. Da, da, da. Yep. Any army with ranged weapons automatically has the volley tactic. These tactics do not count against the maximum. So yeah, this does not teach you here how to learn new tactics, which I believe it's literally after you succeed. I thought it was a check that you make to learn a new tactic, but I'm actually not seeing that here, which is kind of frustrating.
I guess it might be like a profession soldier check by the commander.
It might be automatic, honestly.
I would think it's automatic because it's kind of like
it's not just the commander though; it's the army itself. So like so this division, like now Nick on his sheets he named his different groups. So his group was successful. They could have learned a new tactic as a unit, but only this unit has that tactic.
Yeah.
So
it's because like they're seasoned troops.
Mm-hmm.
And so like if they were trained in it, that's good. If it's like a memorandum type thing where it's like a transferage of information from one troop to next, right? Or if they learned it in fighting, so they just automatically know it because it's like not one check because it's like the collective mass of the army that knows it.
Yep. So it sounds like you guys should all just automatically be able to get tactics for this individual group of soldiers. So just make sure you name what your army is called, the size of the army, all those important details, as I think you already started doing on your spreadsheets anyways, and then you can apply a tactic onto it. If it's a more complicated tactic, I might require you to make some sort of a check to figure it out. But
I think you were thinking of Kingmaker. You made us roll to see if we learned the tactic, but I don't know where that rule came from.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember where the rule came from either, but I'm almost positive it is in fact a rule to learn the tactic. So
we need to think too, how do commanders also gain tactics and boons?
Commanders gain boons, and the boons actually come in from increasing your it's listed on there for the maximum number of boons you can have. You automatically gain a new one once you gain access to another one. So it's based off PC level or ranks in profession soldier, so on and so forth. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Your leadership bonus too, I think, right?
Yeah,
So.
all that stuff kind of adds into it there. Mm-hmm. Cool. So, God damn it, I know it's in here somewhere with how it is that you guys are able to, supposed to be able to have these. But so each of you are able to grab a tactic. Did you already know which one you wanted to add to your armies, or are you still looking? Nick, what do you got?
I haven't got the book open.
Oh, I'm taking sniper support.
Ooh, that's a good one. You have no chance of hitting your friends in melee when, or even your own people in melee when you're using ranged, if I remember correctly.
I got to double check across the books. On the SRD, it is different, I believe.
Oh, well, I just read one thing and it said, as per the SRD. So I'm clicking Army Tactics and scrolling down. Sniper support. Your army holds some ranged units in reserve to attack a target enemy during the melee phase. If your army damages the target in the melee phase, it deals 2 additional points of damage with these. Oh, okay. Oh, I think it was like there was a different one that had to do with no chance of hurting your allies with this. It was like expert sniper or expert archer or some shit like that. But either way, cool.
I would pick Pike Square.
What?
Pike Square.
Pike Square. Looking it up. So your unit grounds its polearms and sets them to fend off enemies, especially mounted foes, while settling a shield wall to protect against infantry. Your unit gains a -2 to their offensive modifier, but gains a +2 to defensive value against mounted foes and deals +2 damage on successful attack against mounted unit. In addition, your unit deals +1 damage against any unit using the aggressive attack strategy. A +2 against armies against all out. So more or less, the more aggressive they are, the better you are against them.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense because these armies are very aggressive focused.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm cool with
that's
it.
kind of what. So and I was using a Pike solid, so.
And you're using a semi-defensive tactic and whatnot. I like it. That's pretty cool as well. Jake, what were you thinking, buddy?
Sorry, I was muted.
You're good,
just
man.
bringing it up now. Where was it?
Don't forget, guys, we have to roll for disease. Every battle.
Relentless Brutality.
Relentless Brutality, as per Pathfinder. Going back over here. Your army throws caution to the winds and attacks its savage and gory vigor. It increases its OM by 4 and decreases its DV by 4.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
very glass cannony.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes sense. I'm like the defensive one. He's the support.
But
and
don't
then you're
forget,
the...
his group has higher health points.
True, yeah.
So, for their size. So, I mean, that makes sense, I guess. All right, cool. All right, let's deal with the rest of the aftermath that's here. Healing is something that we don't really have to worry about too much because there's going to be a gap of time between now and the next conflict.
Also, our armies weren't hurt. I think none of us got hit.
Wait, didn't some of you guys take some damage? I hate you.
We took none.
I hate you as much
Nope.
as I did last week, except I just remembered that I hated you last week.
You just kept rolling so bad.
I hate you so hard. Good.
The
let's
little
deal with
dude tried it.
disease.
The little dude tried to hit me like 100 times, and he just missed every time.
For the sake of chat that is listening, one of the great killers in war throughout history has been disease. Germs have often killed far more than blades, bullets, and bombs combined. A combination of injury, exhaustion, poor sanitation and diet on the campaign trail, frequently inadequate medical supplies, abundant carrion, and garbage and vermin festing upon both with equal relish, and simple proximity of so many people in confined spaces make battlefields an ideal medium for the growth and spread of contagion. Whenever your army finishes a battle, whether victorious or not, make a stability check for the kingdom with a penalty equal to the number of your armies that were bloodied, plus the number of the enemies you take as prisoner. Well, I guess 0 plus 0 equals 0. You get a +2 bonus to this check for each commander with your army that can provide magical healing, or for each healing potion you expend after the battle. So you guys, 0 modifiers for that. If your armies are within 2 hexes of your settlements, you get an additional +1 for each alchemist, herbalist, and temple, +2 for each cathedral, and +4 for each hospital in that settlement for those settlements if more than one. So, Jake, how are you within 2 hexes of your settlement?
We can't see the map.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
my apologies. I can make it visible for you guys. Chat, do you need to see the map as well, or are you good? If the trick fails, one of your armies becomes infected.
I'm just gonna make my
Shows it at
stability check then. Since
Comes
it's
down
no
to
negatives.
stability check.
What are we making?
Stability check?
So upkeep
With a
phase.
0 modifier.
Okay.
And Jake, yeah, you are definitely within 2 hexes of your settlement. So
He's 3.
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on.
no, it's 3.
Oh, it's 3. No, so you don't get the +2 for your alchemist. Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's just a flat roll here. Don't forget you can use the
Yeah.
luck dice.
I'm good. I passed.
Nick, stability check for your people as well. Wow, all of you passed.
Let's go, boys. Nick rolling a 7.
You guys are just crushing all of my fun. All right, everything's good. You guys are able to head home. I don't think there's anything else we need to handle before heading home. So let's just head home. I'm going to describe Jake's first because he's definitely going to get home first. So Jake, when your army returns home and you're able to see the sheer numbers that come walking in, immediately Varix has to comes to the. Did I do that wrong? No. Immediately Varix has to come to the realization of one of 2 things. Either his army was heavily injured, but they replenished it with so many more people, or his army was successful but wasn't able to pull more in. And it's kind of like one of those things they try to gauge it as it comes in. But when Urzog and Irithel both return, Irithel uninjured and Urzog with just a couple of fresh scars on him, nothing incredible, or at least freshly forming scars on him, nothing too massive. Coming with reports of incredible success that almost none of your men were lost, because obviously there'd be a couple of dead people, right, or injured people, but almost nobody lost. It's one of those things where obviously Varix would be very happy with the campaign. It's kind of flipping into the RP with Varix and his advisors. I'll let you take the floor there, Jake.
Yeah, I could imagine with Varric, like reports come in that the army's returning, but he
And
waves them off and he sits and he waits for Urzog to come in.
okay,
If Urzog returns,
he does, obviously.
no. So Urzog walks in and Varric just would look at him and say, "Went well then."
Orzog, sorry.
Urzog.
Yeah, I realized that was a question. He says, "We ate well."
It's been a long time. We've been in Kijinxi, where they frown upon such things. I'm happy that you got to relish in the old ways.
He says, Kajinxi still likes war, and we won. Much blood, much feasting.
What were the numbers? How many did they have?
Many, many more than us. Erithel will chime in and say, yes, it was many more. If I had to guess, their force was twice the size of our combined one.
Good victory, Urzog.
Urzog
You had a
nods.
point to prove. You have proven yourself well. What of the Perrin?
Irithel says, bringing Clan Shado to lap at the scraps they placed in the bowl at their feet.
Varric looks at him, not understanding what he's talking about.
The Perrin brought their wares to the Karuk of the Barren Lands, and Karuk were appropriately primed. It went as expected, and the Perrin were decimated. Very few survived, and many of those that did ran south. They're dead by now. Of those that happened to flee our direction, Shado Naito collected them. Among them, their lieutenant that was in charge. Instead of just ending the concern, they chose to keep it about. And then, after victory was had, and we divvied up the earnings, a conversation to be had, Shado Naito decided that all of the belongings that would have been taken by Shado Naito, again, took an unfair share, would be returned back to the Perrin. There weren't even enough Perrin to carry the supplies. They will have to borrow, if not be gifted, horses and wagons and carts to even bring back the supplies that were gifted back to them.
Naito gave the Perrin his plunder.
Yes. Giving them their lives is an honorable thing. I think we can all agree that letting them live with their life and their wallowing in their own pity is a good thing. Allow them to look upon themselves as the failures they are. That way they can know what it is that they're dealing with. Give them pause in the future. But to then embolden them, Warlord Varric, I ask, would you have given a lesser army an equal share in this battle?
He looks confused. He says, would I have given the Perrin plunder?
Clan Shado brought half the army we did. Half the men we did. Troops.
Oh. I don't like it, but we have a treaty.
Clan Kushibashi,
However,
he says, kind of like chiming in, interruptingly. He says, Clan Kushibashi brought less than half of that.
Kushibashi is about to be at war on their northern border. The southern border is ours. That is our job. They have sent word that they are housing men in a watchtower on the south, which is helping us out. Kushibashi has... I understand. I didn't send men into the forest to look for Naito when he went. I'm more concerned about the Perrin. Tell me, Irithel, why do you think that this Clan Shado is desperately trying to make something with the Perrin? They're our natural enemies.
They're either extremely foolish or extremely cunning, and I would certainly put my money in the first.
The Perrin will destroy him. He doesn't see that. They're not friends.
I tried
They
to...
take... The barracks laughs. They are closer to Kurak than some may say. They take what they want. The way they go about it, though.
I tried to explain this, but strong-headed and foolish the Clan Shado is. So I had a proposition. Something I thought you might like. I don't think we're going to be able to convince Tessel that... So he says Warlord Tessel in front of you. I don't think we'll be able to convince Warlord Tessel to go down a different path. However, that doesn't mean we can't know what path he's going down to adequately prepare ourselves for their inevitable folly in the future, while of course still providing guidance to see to their success, as that alleviates our own concerns on the east. I know that we are a bit overdue. The three warlords are a bit overdue for their next meeting with one another, and certainly talking about the campaign to the south is something that you will all enjoy over some grog or the like. Perhaps at this meeting, it would be prudent to suggest that we have one of our ambassadors spend some time at their home a bit more often to more adequately provide your opinions, your guidance, Clan Densho's perspective readily available rather than slow messages back and forth.
Yeah, we are equal partners. We share plunder equally. We raid together, we fight together. Our voice should be heard in the others. If Tessel makes allegiances and alliances with the Perrin, it affects us, our reputation. We all affect one another. We all should have a voice.
I know
Irithel.
that.
Urzog, you will be my right hand, and Irithel my left. There is a new order coming. You're sick, Scott. You're sick. Urzog, for your victory, we shall hold a feast. The whole city shall celebrate your return. You proved yourself, you did well. Tonight, we drink.
Oh, I'm happy to drink, but I must say, my belly is full on the hearts and fear of my enemies.
And you will eat at my table nonetheless. On my right.
I'm sure I could find room.
I'm sure you can. And this is at this point, Densho will hold a big celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many BP do you want to spend? No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that.
I'm going to because I want it to be a big party. This is Urzog's. This was him proving himself. It's his first. He proved himself to get the job of general. Proved himself strong. This is his first real test of combat, and he's done well.
Cool, cool.
We'll just throw 2 BP at it.
All right. Subtract that from the earnings that you got from the war.
Yep.
Cool. And let's move on from there. By the way, nobody donated more BP to the group, so you guys didn't get any extra from that, just so you guys are aware. Cool. All right. That would be the conversation that you'd have there. With the others returning home, Naito returning home with Lieutenant Julia.
Yeah.
Would come home to you next.
Honestly, Naito's probably, Tessel's probably sitting in his the room he was in when he met the other lady, which is like the table, sitting on his knees, reading a book on how to learn Draconic from Daelish at this point.
Okay.
Since he was asked to do so by Lenny.
Awesome. So, obviously Naito would come walking in, give the appropriate salute and whatnot. I'm sure it looks very Perrin.
You return, brother. It does not look Perrin. I'm coming up with stuff. Okay, but it's very not. I don't. What is Perrin, like 3 fingers or whatever?
Something like that.
It's not that.
If you can handle it.
It's 1 finger. The middle. Okay. Anyway, it's good to see you return in good health, brother. Do our men fare well?
Resounding victory.
Good. Our allies, do their men fare well as well?
A sorrowful defeat. Well, for some. Densho and Kushibashi have fared well, though perhaps not of strong mind. And the Perrin, they suffered considerable losses. As a matter of fact, their losses are almost complete. We were barely able to rescue their commander, the Lieutenant Centurion, from the clutches of death. And when I say barely, I mean literally a stray arrow was fortunate enough to clip one, bringing our attention to what was going on in that direction. Commanded men into rescue and realized who it was that we were assisting. It was, 9 lives we were able to spare. And of them, 3 of them had to be carried back home. And when I say home, I do mean my home, our home.
Of course. I'm assuming they're being treated by our doctors. Or I guess I would probably more of like the members of the church, I would assume, probably be treating them, considering you have a temple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Either. They're being treated their wounds,
chain.
correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not broken chain. There's no breaking of chains here except for the chains that bind you.
That's right. Tessel's the forger of chains.
Yeah.
Of course, I make all the chains and the nails, okay, to
Mhm.
nail you into the cross. Anyway,
Whoa! Too soon, man. Too soon. Yeah.
it's about 2,000 years later, but
Yeah, but I still feel that sin. So.
Anyway,
Wait,
they're being
if
treated.
he died for our sins, why am I still born with original sin?
Well, just take your L, dude. Okay, I'm Jewish. It's not my problem.
Oh, ouch.
The answer, Scott, is I met your mother.
Why can't Mom watch this stream? Why does she watch the other one? Anyways, go ahead.
Is the commander here?
Not here. Also, having her wounds looked at. She requested coming immediately here, but I felt it more appropriate for you to have a debriefing without her presence.
Of course, that would make sense. What else should I know before I go talk to her? I would like to speak immediately to well, just to see their mindset, what they think of the whole situation. I don't wish to anger our southern border, for as we know, if we anger them, we would not last long.
Well, things are going well. I imagine. As well as could be, considering that almost our entire group was decimated. She literally watched people around her be eaten, sometimes alive. As a matter of fact, we all witnessed a considerable amount of that.
It is the ways of Clan Dencho.
It's difficult to keep morale on the battlefield when the battlefield is one like that.
It is a reality we must accept. For all of our grievances, I'm sure they have plenty towards us as we do them.
I imagine the starved. He bites his tongue, doesn't say anything more.
Speak.
Shakes his head and just says, different ways of life. Some more civilized than others.
Any other information I require before I speak to her, or I should manage the conversation well enough?
She did watch us take 1/3 of all the winnings of the battlefield, much of those supplies having belonged to Paradel prior to its collection from us.
We should return some of these. It is best to not show only safety that we will defend them against enemies, that we will also give back what was lost to them. It will establish our peace further. Though, I guess the downside would be when other warlords hear about it, they would not take too kindly to those actions.
They've already heard. I had a degree of discussion with those that were in command of the other
I'm not
groups.
speaking of our allies. Even if they disagree with our actions, they will not attack us for those actions. I am more concerned of our neighbor Clan Steel, deep enemies of the Parandel, even being insulted by our envoy, Elia. I fear that they may have some sort of retaliation or messaging to the warlord of the north.
When we finally make our voyage into the mountains, in to meet with the salamanders, perhaps we could find old tunnels that will lead us right to the heart of their home. A quick, easy passage should we ever need to have a military campaign against them.
It would be good to send looks for Warden. Tark to maybe it's Marshall. Tiktung to maybe look into that if we have friendly relations with these salamanders. I fear if we don't, we won't get much use out of tunnels they control.
Nods. He says, there's nothing else I think I need to report. She is sound of mind, even if faint of heart, as of right now.
Send for Aaliyah if she's not already there. I believe it'd be best to have her there as well. I believe they've had some amount of friendship or camaraderie between themselves
kumquat?
when they met. English hard, okay? Don't insult a man
Wait.
of a speech impediment.
Did you say comrade?
Camaraderie, like soldiers have.
Yeah, comrade. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Remember, Clan Shado is communist, okay? Don't forget that. Anyway.
Yep. Do svidania.
Listen, the people own the means of production. That's all I'm saying.
So anyways, you're gonna go and head back to he's gonna go and go get her. I imagine you're gonna summon for her to come to you. You're not going to go to this Lieutenant Centurion.
Well, I guess how wounded is she? He would ask Naito.
More than she'd admit, but less than mortal.
Would she be able to come here without too much harm done to her in her recovery?
She could.
Also, ask Lenny if he could spare a bit of his tea, if he has any to spare, and emphasize the if he is able to. Make sure he knows it's not a demand. He's too giving sometimes.
He'll nod and he'll kind of like head out to go be a lapdog. It's kind of like it's in the bloodline. you know. So, anyways, the he's gonna go and go and tell Leah, let her know Lenny with the tea, maybe wash somebody else's feet, whatever it might be. Before eventually he goes and curls up into his little bed
Hey,
outside the
listen,
house.
Naito is a big, strong, independent man. Okay.
Sure, and he tells himself that every night.
you
So,
guys
anyways,
give him a bad rap. Okay.
Aaliyah's gonna come. Whenever I think of Aaliyah, I always think of, I don't remember if that's how you correctly pronounce it, certainly not how you spell it, but the singer that died in like the plane crash. You know what I'm talking about? She played the queen in the movie Queen of the Damned.
I'm too zoomer.
Is that a shanty?
It might be Ashanti. I thought it was Aaliyah.
Could be.
I don't know. We were talking like 20 years ago. So it was a long time
So
ago.
I may have been not alive.
Queen of the Damned. What year was that? Queen of the Damned, the movie came out in 2002. It was 19 years ago.
I was very much alive.
Yeah. Yeah, barely. Dude, it's a 17 on Rotten Tomatoes. That's so awesome. It's not a good movie, to be clear. It's not a good movie, and her name is Aaliyah. Aaliyah, I think. It is not a good movie, but I love it so much. And I love the soundtrack for it. I won't lie. But back to the game. So Aaliyah and what's her name? Julia will come. And you'll of course have tea brought to you by Lenny. He's like, I put some peppers in it.
Does that make it taste better?
Jalapeno to spice it up.
I'll trust your judgment. The book's been
No, sorry, Barrenlands. It's actually one of the few peppers, one of the few herbs that can even grow anywhere in the Barrenlands. It's a ghost pepper.
Are those even like natural? Didn't we have to like do a lot of breeding to make ghost peppers?
Excuse me. It's a fantasy world.
I'm sorry. I'm just pointing out the reality. We
Listen,
only made those like in the 2010s.
It's a fantasy world. Every female character you can say, yep, those are natural. That's how it works. That's how it works.
Well, if they're growing in the barren lands, technically they're supernatural.
The book's been helping me learn Draconic. I thank you for getting it for me, Lenny.
He's like, he'll actually say something to you in Draconic. Like let's say something small, like how spicy do you like it?
Do I understand it? I'm guessing so.
Roll a linguistics check.
Oh, that's not a good check. I rolled a 1. What are the chances?
What kind of game was it, Ash? Wow.
5%.
You actually think he looks at you and he says, something along the lines of, like, you look hot, come to bed with me. As opposed to like or more or less like, how spicy do you want it, but like in a connotative way? Like
I still just like cocks his head like,
he's
I
like,
think
and he switches
something.
back. He switches back to comment. It was like Karuk, and he'll say, like, as you kind of cock your head and look to the side, he goes, "Think about it. You know you like the heat," and then turns and walks out of the room.
He just says out loud, I'm gonna assume I missed something. I should read more of this, and then he puts like under the table to leave it there for later.
Yep. And he's already gone. You look, does he have a swagger? Why am I noticing that?
I wouldn't. I'm too bad at perception checks. Let's be real here.
So anyways, so he walks out and the ladies will come walking. Actually, Leah went and collected Julia before bringing them in, as to be polite. So the two of them come in at the same time. And actually, Aaliyah will go over and take an appropriate seat wherever it is that you guys are, and gesture for Julia to do the same.
I am Shadow Tessel, warlord of Clan Shadow. As you No, at this point, I believe your name is Lieutenant Centurion Julia Kruger.
She nods and says, "Yeah, I am."
I'm sorry for your loss of men. Um, Deaths saddened me all around.
Soldiers fight, soldiers die. She says through a strained voice, clearly with some sort of injury along her like neck or whatever it might be. Soldiers fight, soldiers die. However, watching yourself be consumed by your enemy, that's only one thing I've seen more horrifying than that. Watching those saving you, consuming that enemy as well.
That is why it's best for those not used to the barren lands to enter it. It is all around a dangerous goal, and there's terrifying things in the barren lands. I've learned there's even more terrifying things in the west and Eldamar. But sorry, Tid. No need for me to ramble. I offer this tea, but my gnome companion has put hot peppers in there, so I don't know if it would suit your throat well. But normally the tea is soothing to one's throat. She would take a sip.
Yep. She thanks you, and out of like respect, will take a sip as well. But it is a little bit spicy.
Yeah. I plan on giving you back many of the supplies that we recovered from the combat as a sign of good faith, and hopefully it can help ease the loss of men and give something back to their families.
She nods appreciatively. If I might ask, that clan that participated in such tactics, Clan Densho they're called.
He nods.
I don't know their warlord.
Yes, Warlord Varix.
Warlord Varix. Is he of the Barrenlands?
From what I understand, yes. He has come from the Barrenlands. He is on the border of the Barrenlands to stop raiders from pillaging the lands that we live in Kajigsi.
Is this much like hair of the dog that bit you? Keep back the horrors of the South by utilizing them to your benefit?
Along those lines, yes. He's used to prevent them from attacking the northern tribes, which have, or northern clans, that have long since forgotten the horrors that are the Barren Lands. He is a honorable man.
She, since motive.
Does Aaliyah get to roll too?
Yeah, I'm trying to get her sheet up. There we go.
I rolled a 22. I'm happy.
She rolled garbage. There was a scoff.
He pays no mind to it.
Okay. And you're allied with this clan?
We are allies, yes. Not to divulge too much information, but we were attacked by a clan to our north. They tried to poison us and assassinate us in a arrangement which was supposed to be cooperation. And, well, from then we've worked together to secure our nations against enemies on all sides.
Allies are good to have. Speaking of, I did have questions about one more. We call them in our tongue, Axpeak. What do you call them in your tongue? She says, looking directly at the PC Nick and his notes.
I'm sorry, what's that?
She says, looking directly at the PC Nick, who should probably give puppy eyes to, I think, Norway, who came up with a badass name.
I'm sorry, I missed half of that because I was too busy thinking of all the damage Paradell's going to do with all this inside information.
I have
Tessa
been very
just-
conservative. There has not been a lot of information. Okay?
She should have got no information.
I've been very conservative, but yeah, we're here defending the border, and just because there's some internal strife and people are trying to kill us on all sides doesn't mean we're in a weak position at all. No, don't worry. Here, please take your money back so you don't come and raid us. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, listen, you're not the one that's
Let's talk of
positioned on the
emissaries.
border
Maybe
of
you
Paradel.
want somebody here as well. I'll be taking in members of the Paradel military. We'll station them in my capital.
Listen, no Perrin soldier will be advising Tesla, okay?
So let me just tell you all the
You know the
local
worst.
warlords' strengths and weaknesses. Do you want exact military sizes? I could just let me write it down for you. You don't look like you're taking enough notes. That's what I'm saying.
God,
Yeah, I know.
listen, how about just mouths closed, zipped up, you're not here, okay?
So, she says, "What's the word you have for it?" And Tesla says the word, even if the PCs can't remember it now, because I can't either, even though I've said it like a bunch of times and I fucking love it because it sounds so badass.
I have no memory.
Norway.
I think he's asleep.
It's probably somewhere in Inclame spoiler chat, but Inclame spoiler chat at some point in time became like a political spoiler chat for a minute
Did
last
it?
week.
I don't remember.
I was like, it was like middle of last. It was before I like ghosted for a few days. Either way, if Norway's not responding to me saying his name, then he's probably gone to bed. It's fucked hard at o'clock over there. So either
Was
way.
it Ketsuyuki, maybe?
Oh no, there he is. Is it Kamatori? Is it Kamatori? Is that the one that was a king of birds or something like that?
Maybe. It kind of sounds like a Japanese appetizer at a sushi bar, but
Well, it is a bird.
fair enough. That's yakitori, by the way. Yes.
Oh yeah, yakitori.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Every time I ever went anywhere with Dave, he would just order yakitori and complain about how it's not the same as when he was in Japan. And I'm like, you're at a Chinese restaurant. Like, why are you ordering yakitori at a Chinese restaurant and talking about being in Japan?
That's it's like ordering egg rolls and being angry that it's not authentic Chinese food.
Yeah. Or going to like a Thai place and ordering egg rolls, as we've talked about beforehand.
It's just don't ever order the Chinese food at a Thai restaurant. They're selling it for the normie white people, okay?
By the way, did you hear Melissa opened up a second Thai place?
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, it's called Titanic.
Is it really? That's phenomenal.
Where you'll have to tell me where they opened it.
We'll talk about afterwards.
That's a W.
Yep.
That's a win. That's a win.
And she's like super pregnant. We're invited to the baby shower the end of I think this month. I think
wow.
It's the last Sunday of this month. I just happened to call. Well, I happened to text her randomly, just be like, "Hey," and she called me immediately afterwards. It was like, "Hi," because we haven't like talked in forever. Because I've called her a couple times since the pandemic started. But anyways, this is neither here nor there. But yeah, the short version is the one place is doing so incredibly well. It's not only kept the second place floating, it opened to third place. I'm still so angry we didn't go ahead and open a coffee shop there. But be happy for your friends. Be happy for your friends.
Oh, that's funny. Julian's leaving too. I don't know.
I know. I can tell you something about that afterwards too, but we'll talk about that one later because she actually, one of the reasons why she called me was specifically about Julian and why he's leaving. But you and I will talk about that after the stream. Okay, cool. What we got?
All right, if you're just joining the stream, Cell is selling state secrets.
I'm not selling anything.
No, sorry. He's giving them. Sorry, you're not selling them.
You know what? Listen,
Actually,
you guys don't border a nation that can mobilize its forces and destroy you literally whenever they want, okay? How about you border that and then you start saying this shit, okay? Oh, wait,
Do you not remember the rock the size of my capital?
I don't get it.
I just think,
Yeah,
Rock.
like literally the monstrous bird that's like could fly over my capital and shit on it, destroy it.
Yeah, but it won't, okay?
oh my God.
Sure.
Imagine a bird like a rock being high enough up in the sky and just dropping a semi-solid turd and just like the sheer force of like terminal velocity turd. Oh,
It's a bomb. Anyway,
That's like throwing
That-
feather token trees from an airship, right?
back to the game. What is she asking?
oh my
I
God,
say
that's so funny.
Kamitori is act speaking Kuruk.
Yeah.
I'm
Kamitori.
assuming we've been speaking in Perrin, right?
Yeah. Well, kind of like a comment, but you actually speak Perrin fluently.
I speak Perrin fluently.
So then, yeah, you speak predominantly in Perrin, a little bit in the other one. But anyway, so she would say, we've seen these Kamitori before. They're wild birds, untamable beasts, but and don't get me wrong, we've seen people ride them before, but the precision and whatnot that they use, they must be incredible warriors. They had a different banner amongst them too.
I know little of my allies' military structure.
No, I just mean it's incredible what they've been able to succeed with. What was the name of that clan? I was not able to gather that.
I hate you so much. I hate you so
You know,
No, go ahead. You're laying it out.
clan Kushibashi.
Kushibashi. It's
And
very.
who was the warlord to Kushibashi again?
No, she says.
You know, can I get like a sense of motive here? This is
No, she just says, she says Kushibashi under her breath and says, they are incredible warriors. There was barely any of them compared to the soldiers that were brought by Shado and Densho. And they delivered decisive blows with incredible tactics. It was just, if only my soldiers were as trained as well as theirs. It was awe-inspiring. It truly was.
they are honorable men as honorable men and women in that clan as well. Yeah, I
Hashtag
saw it.
sellout.
I
Oh
saw it.
my God! Let's make this a thing.
That's why I was laughing when you were talking, because I saw the, you know. Anyway, back to the game. Besides the point,
Make it a thing.
I hate all of you on a very high degree. They have amazing writers. I've seen the forest that they border.
I hope that's the name of your community. Like, oh, incoming the sellouts.
Could do it. It would be pretty good. Have you heard any tales of the forest of Eldamar? Because whatever you've heard, it is far worse.
Stories as a child, whispers in the camp and training. Never visited.
We can offer some transports to the border for the supplies that we will be returning to you. Would you need men to look out for you to at the border, or would you be able to send messages to your network and be safe from banditry or the like?
This region of Paradel is not very safe. The travel home would be difficult, to say the least. I could certainly send for an envoy to come and collect me, but it would take some time for them to find their way here.
I would be frank. I don't think it'd be best that I keep your presence too long. Other clans would not look too kindly upon me for housing you.
I thought each clan was independent.
They are, but they would still not keep kindly to me housing Perrin from Paradel. You must know much of you must know Kuruk culture, and what do we call Erevo?
Lady
Is there
Arvel?
like Lady Erevo? I wasn't sure if we call her like the Chainer or something like that, you know, to be derogatory.
No, because some people would worship her.
Yeah. We don't. Most clans don't tolerate any presence of the Perrin. Actually, wait. Didn't I hear about they were trading with Clan Steel, Peridot? I do have a question actually. Of Clan Steel. to my southeast.
They
There
are.
has been rumors of business with you, the Perrin and them.
It's tentative, but it does exist.
They are soon, I believe, to being my enemy. They've already disrespected my clan, and I believe a war will be inevitable.
She rolls sense motive.
Yeah. Aaliyah, please help.
Elisa's just been listening because you're the boss. She hasn't had insight yet. Hold on, let's see what she rolls.
I'm rolling 18 back to back.
Okay. And again, she has a huge modifier, but she actually rolled decent that time. She'll actually chime in at this point and says, of course, we will see to it that your supplies are returned to you. Aaliyah kind of chimes in. Just as we saw to it the safety of you and your men the first time we found you, and the second. I just am curious as to how it is Paradel fares and how well they repay their allies in the future, how well they repay their allies these days. I know that in my past, anybody who did well by way of my family would certainly have my family's support in the future should hard times befall, these proven friends. And so she would kind of like look and understand what it is you're saying. And she says, I understand what it is that Clan Shadow did for our people on both accounts. It was a fool's errand we were sent on, and I will make sure that that is understood. I'll also make sure it's understood what kind of struggles are happening up here to see if any aid can be brought.
To be certain, I wouldn't need any military aid. Just potentially tampering of goods that they send to them, or just altogether, if it's possible, to just not trade with Clan Steel, to hurt them in an economic sense.
I don't know too much about the economics of Clan Steel, but what I can do is this. When I return home, I have a friend down there that is involved in these dealings. I cannot deny what it was that you have done for me. I will have an understanding, whatever it is they're willing to part with, come your way. See if you can find some measure of advantage in your upcoming conflict.
He nods. I thank you for your support. In any way, I wish to minimize the casualties. A swift victory would minimize casualties on both sides.
She nods and says, Aaliyah will actually respond to you, or will kind of chime in and say, Warlord Tessel, should it be expected that we are housing them until somebody comes to retrieve them, or are they to embark on this voyage to the south sometime soon?
We can keep them for a week or so, for them to send a letter, and then we should escort them to the border and keep guard of them till they have transport arrive. If that is okay with you, we will provide tents and the like and food as necessary.
She nods and says, any degree of aid would be appreciated. Aaliyah actually chimes in and says, Warlord, if I may, a week is likely not even enough time to transport a letter all the way to someone that would have the authority to send a transport here. If I may be so bold as to request, perhaps we send a small escort to the south to deliver them to safety.
At this point, Tessel's like brings his hand up and he starts like just stroking his face because this is like a thinker. I won't come to the decision now. I must speak to my brother on military matters like this to seek his counsel. But I will think on it. I will let you know soon.
What's her name? Julia nods and says, on either way, however it plays out in the future, a week to gather strength and to allow some to begin their mend. It's appreciated.
Recover well, friend.
Aaliyah says, I'll escort her back to where she was.
He nods.
And you kind of get the impression she'll return.
Yeah.
Okay. She escorts her away, giving like maybe almost an hour's time before she returns back to you. I don't know if you call anybody else to your chamber, to this meeting room in the interim.
At this point, I'd grab, I guess, Naito, and then Tiktung might be important here. He's
Sure.
the marshal, so he does with outside the border stuff.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So you grab, so the three of them return, and all three of them are able to come in and sit down. And Naito will ask, how did the meeting fare?
It fared well. I gave bits of information to be courteous without giving too much. And I've gathered bits as well, and potentially the supports of disruption of Clan Steel in our upcoming conflict. It may come in importance. Aaliyah had an idea, had the thought of sending a troop of soldiers to guard them and transport them to the south. I wanted your two opinions, TikTok and Naito, on how that would fare for our soldiers, and also how we think it would fare when the other warlords hear of this action.
What's his name? Naito would say, I think it's unwise for us to send our people to the south. It would give them an understanding of what quality of weapons we're able to fabricate and the degree of training our soldiers happen to have. I think any information like that beyond what has been seen on the field of battle by the anecdotal evidence of a few is not a good idea. Allowing them to be viewed upon and judged by so many more in such a hostile environment. And who's to say that they return? Maybe what's reported is not liked. They're not going to be safe. Tiktung actually chimes in and says, these are slavers.
He nods.
Just leaves it at that.
Yeah, that's all. Enough said. I think it's. I still think it's best, Aaliyah, if we do what I've said. House them at their side of the border.
Aaliyah will kind of like chime in as you say that. She clears her throat to get your attention. I had a reason for this. Our best knowledge of Paradel comes from my being born and raised there, but certainly my experience and where my experience came from is somewhat limited. I think we can all agree on that, and it's also a bit removed. By sending people to the south to escort her there, it gives eyes into the south, friendly eyes, being welcomed into friendly arms. And it allows us an opportunity to glean some degree of information without having to worry about the safety of our people, despite what some might say. She says, looking over at Naito for half a moment.
Once more with feeling.
I agree having eyes in the south would be useful, but I don't think we risk the other side of the coin that you seem to ignore in this situation. What others will think. I normally do not care. I do not care much about what other warlords think. But I've had several actions in the last month that have put me at odds with the general consensus in Kajinksi. I've spat on the broken chain. I've saved the parent twice, and now I will be escorting them back to their homes and giving them back their treasure. This is too many actions at once, and it will not be looked kindly upon. I do desire to help them, but we must stop at a point to protect ourselves.
She looks dissatisfied with what you say. She almost looks like she's going to chime in and fight back on it. But considering that she sees three very, stern to one degree or another, solid looks in the matter, she knows when to fold, and so she does. Doesn't argue anymore. Just after a couple of moments of analyzing, just gives like a defeated nod, and stays quiet.
Thank you for understanding.
Tick Tongue will say, "Could use him as bait, but it's meant to be playful."
He sighs. I'll meet with her tomorrow and tell her what we will do. For now, he looks down at the book. I have more reading to do. I didn't understand what Lenny said, or Lenny was hitting on me. So I'm gonna assume I misunderstood.
When you say that, your brother's eyebrow will raise. A Tick Tongue will kind of like look a little bit confused, and Aaliyah will actually openly say, "I could see that." Like almost like I ship it.
I got it, and then wrap it up. It's basically we just protect.
Whoa! You have to be safe. That's right. You wrap it up.
We
You
just
know where
protect.
Lenny's been.
He's a gnome. He's like Josh. He's all on the ground level. We don't know what they do down there. Okay, they're so short.
Josh is living in Boston. He's a dirty boy.
So yeah, we basically will protect her on their side of the border, right? So.
Yep, that's fine. By their side of the border, you mean?
At the hills.
So I thought.
The real border. Okay, we've already established it.
Yep.
And yeah, that's a wrap, I think.
All right, cool. Nick. Your commander returns back home. Commander, if you want to call it. By the way, who won that thing? Was a cell? Cell, you earned a what's it called?
Commander.
What did we say that you got? Because it was a level 4 hype train, I think, which is the same
So it's
as
a level
what Nick got.
2 character.
Yeah, it's a level 2 character. Let's say that Nick got, right?
+2 charisma, I think.
Yeah. Because +1's the base.
Again, I'm pretty sure it was Jake who got that. I still didn't get a commander, I believe. So.
Oh yeah, it was still Jake. I'm sorry. I keep saying Nick, but I meant Jake. I keep forgetting that you were the fan favorite, but then you.
Yeah,
You lost.
But then they met me.
Yeah.
That's good. And yeah, it was level 5. I think so, Joey.
Oh.
Did they complete level 5? I honestly wasn't paying that close attention.
I can't check.
I was trying to force my brain into the moment. It's one of those things. The first stream of the week. Don't fuck it up. Actually get stuff done.
We've gotten some stuff done.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we'll go back to you because that's the less important thing at the moment.
That's asking way too much, Xylamos. Okay, it's not going to happen.
Didn't Xylamos roll a fucking 1 on BP earlier?
I think so.
Xylamos is a worse roller than Nick.
He's throwing shade now.
It's not a joke.
Oh.
I've seen Xylamos roll. When he rolls dice on my stream, he's consistently below 10s. 1s. It's very fantastic.
Use more luck. I can't sell uses all the luck before I can get
don't
it.
use most of the luck. That's a lie.
Sure.
See, you rolled average, Xylamos. I told you. You don't roll above average.
Anyway, back to Zara. You're done selling clan secrets.
I won't lie. This is a funny meme that Hunter and Wolf or Noose Moose, depending on what name you know them as, sent me. It's a picture of a gun tucked into somebody's rubbery hole-filled boots, and it goes, "You've heard of Cat in the Hat, but have you heard of?" And Glock in the Croc. It's pretty funny. I won't lie. It just made me chuckle. I accidentally charged my phone back up to 100%. Whoops. They charge so fast. It's oopsies.
That's almost a tongue twister. Sell secrets by.
Oh, that's funny. Sell secrets by the. Oh, silver. Another word for border. Steel. I said Silver.
Foundry. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. Silver Steel.
By the Edge. Sell Seekers by Steel's Edge.
Yes,
Oh, then you got to keep going from there. All right.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. Continuing. So, Zalamos is more proof of you being less than average. Sorry. So, back to the game. You are, they return home, and they report back to you what has transpired. Now, if I remember correctly, she's an adequate leader of a small group, but she's not like, oh my god, I'm amazing. So she reports to you the successes, the failures, what it was that your group did. It brings forward names that should be commended, maybe individuals that should be promoted, so on and so forth. And, you know, pat on her head. And you think about maybe utilizing her in more campaigns in the future. This is the greatest thing that she's done this far from without somebody directly over and all that fun stuff. So it's actually one of those, good job, Zara, I think her name was, and you actually contemplate using her in the future. She's actually kind of like earning a name in your group. Give her a promotion. Ranks are up to you guys to decide in your own little structures. Moving on. So she also informs you of how Irithel was being a little bit condescending about the sheer number of people that you brought, despite the fact that you also brought a considerable amount of success with the people that you brought. About the whole Paradel thing, giving them the supplies, so on and so forth. Her report is pretty plain, pretty basic. Has details put into it that she feels are pertinent. So we can say that she does like a 39 out of 100. Thanks, Alamos. I'm just kidding. For how good her report is or how accurate it is, why don't we let Zalamos roll me a D1000? And we'll see how that comes out.
Roll it up.
You're just mean. Zalamos, you're gonna roll well. I promise.
It's gonna be like a 999.
It'll be 1,000.
The first roll ever on a D1000 was me, and it was a 1000. It was great.
I was a D100.
Oh my god, that's a D100. I was blown away for a second. Then I realized you did the wrong dice. Oh my god.
Only you could go from a 98 on the wrong die to a 3 on the right one.
Oh my god. A 98 on a D100 to a 3 on a D1000.
Oh boy.
So you get.
She commands the well. She reports poorly. You know what? Maybe she needs to be promoted so she could have a an aide de camp. You know what I mean? That's what she needs. She needs to be promoted for her leadership to have an aide de camp under her. That's either that or execution at this point. Honestly, what are you gonna do with her? Just put her in the brig. So you get a report that honestly is barely legible. When you finally call her to meet with you to be like, the fuck? Her oral report is way more accurate and is way more on point for what it is that you actually transpired down there. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, this is genuine. Okay, she at least remembers details so long as she's delivering them well. Okay, that was fun.
You can never judge me again, Zalamos. Never again.
I think Zalamos owes you an apology.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, him and LD, they literally can't judge Nick's rolls.
Yeah, but LD's not mean about it. LD knows his place.
True. LD's my mom, and he just sits in the corner.
Yeah. Just, woo! Go
That's
get him!
kind of weird and creepy.
Oh,
why'd you
there?
Because he's like 99% of the time he has the stream on, probably like 1% volume, and like listening to 10 other streams at the same time.
Who's that like terrible actor / comedian that's on SNL nowadays? He's young and he's a burnout.
All of them?
No, young. I can't remember his name. Messi made a reference about him the other day, but when you were talking about he's my mom and he's in the corner, it just made me think of like the story about, because like his dad died when he was young, And like when he got older, he was like out hanging out with his dad's old like people for I don't know. Short version, he remembers a time where his dad sat there and watched one of his buddies have sex with somebody else, and he's like, "Thanks for telling me the story about my father." Like, what the fuck? And it was just that just made me think of that. So,
Was the buddy who was having sex with the guy's mom?
no, it was
Was his dad sitting in the corner watching, you know,
no. It was,
living that lifestyle?
no cuckolding.
And that's how he came into being?
No cuckolding. No.
You're getting pretty excited, Jake.
Thank you, Nick.
That's the most I've seen you smile this whole night. So,
Well, you know, things I don't know, I got nothing.
sorry, you know, we all learn things every day.
Yeah,
True.
I'm a great sellout apparently.
You can't say half of SNL's actors. Like that is not true. Most of them are absolutely like are awesome at what they do. It's just what they do is not very good. So, but I can't remember the guy's name. He's the annoying one. Oh. Anyways, moving on. So where were we?
So I'm going to.
She reported to you.
Yeah.
She gave you the oral report because it was more accurate than her terrible chicken scratch. Continue.
Okay, so Zara's unit, we're going to give them 1 BP as a bonus because I reward my people.
That's a morale boost when they go into the next battle.
Boom, I'll take it.
Oh, actually, after victories, you guys gain. How much morale do you gain after a victory?
I'll look into it.
Let's see. The leaders of your army. The leaders of your army can engage in direct. Oh no, not this. That's not what I wanted. So it says victory and aftermath. We're not doing any of that stuff. Offering. Nope, none of that stuff. Fame and infamy. We're not worried about that stuff. Morale. Success and failure on the battlefield obviously have a significant impact on the morale of the surviving armies involved. What transpires between battles likewise helps an army defeated or triumphant prepare for the next foray onto the battlefield. Careful preparation and training with their leader keeps them sharp and ready, while armies that languished for too long have a period of inactivity. Blah blah blah. That didn't answer. Oh, army morale modifiers. Here we go. So, Nick, if you pay double consumption for 2 consecutive months is +1 modifier. Winning a battle, plus a -1 per allied unit defeated or destroyed. Hey, you guys each get to add to your army's morale, which I think we started you with 3, a D4. So again, choose somebody in chat to roll a D4 for your army's morale. Trains with
Wants it. Oh, wow.
I believe in you, buddy.
I'm just going to circle back to that blue raspberry. Does it taste good? Does it taste good, Sal?
I don't get what that means. I'm too young for the reference. It's a D4.
So, Nick, do you know
Yes.
what is the consumption of that army?
Joey, you want to roll for me?
Consumption is 2.
Okay. So if you pay double consumption for 2 consecutive months, which is 4 extra BP, that's a lot. That'll give you +1 morale. That's a lot. But if you just want to do the +1 because it has like a marker, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Joey rolled for me,
It
Scott.
might give you a bonus to that was sexy. It might give you a bonus to your what's it called, Nick? Forming another army if you need to. Back to who's rolling for Nick?
Why don't Shaggy Dog?
Oh, Shaggy's still there? Shaggy's usually a lurk. Shaggy, do I still owe you daddies? I feel like I do. I could be mistaken. But we'll wait till they roll and then we'll find out. All right. So Nick, you
What do I
order
add
them
this
the
for
VP.
to? Sorry.
The morale of your group. They currently had a 3, now it's a 7.
Oh, nice. Okay, thanks.
Sorry. I think it's more
D4.
than that, Joey. I think it's more than that, but I could be wrong. A D4, Shaggy. So, either way, remember, maximum morale is a 10, and having way up there is like super beneficial. But continuing. Oh, a 4. Wow.
Good call.
I took an L. That's how it be sometimes.
You chose Alamos, didn't you?
I did. I wanted to see if he could prove himself. I'm
And
proud
he
of you.
did. Yeah, he did.
I'm proud of him. You didn't roll a 1. That's honestly impressive.
You doubled your. Moving on. Back to game. You Nick, so you award them with this. They, of course, they take their extra money. They're going to spend it on like alcohol and stuff like that. They're going to enjoy their evening. Maybe you can get some of their equipment shined up extra, whatever it might be. It's actually smiled upon. I imagine she gets a slightly larger cut than the rest because 1 BP is 4,000 gold, to be clear. 4,000 gold. And you said how many soldiers? 25?
20 is the actual. Yeah.
20 is the number. So even if you gave like 3/4 of it to those under her and her quarter of it as their leader, you give her 1,000 gold pieces. She could actually, in theory, go and upgrade her equipment with that. That's pretty incredible. So to be clear on that, cool. What else do you do?
So, I'm not going to prattle with my underling's underling. So I'm going to dismiss Zara and I'm going to call in my council. So that would be. Let's pull them up real quick. Karzog. I'm going to want Shala. And then. Do I have Grant and Machiko?
Okay. Is it Michiko away, handling north stuff?
Let's take a look. Advisor tasks. I do not have any Machiko slated for anything.
Okay. I thought they were because they were handling north, but I could be mistaken. All right, cool. 6 being done. There we go. All right, awesome. So you pull them in, and one of the first things that you kind of like hear from them, obviously you're going to set the tone. You can see Karzug looks very happy. But you can set the tone. Go ahead, sir.
No, basically, I'm just going to reiterate the report. Terse is normal. And then I'm going to be given this current information with the border skirmishes, Paradil seeing our forces on the field. Thankfully, it was only a small unit. We haven't seen any advancements to the north or to the east. Currently, we're in a low with Eldamar. So what's our next move?
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that Karzug would say is, well, as soon as the construction is completed to the south, we immediately need to get the construction of the tower is completed to the south. We should perhaps give her, award her with her station there. I think that it would be a good place for her to maintain her relationship with those of the south, and considering how well she behaved on the Barren Lands, perhaps having somebody who is specialized in handling combat on the Barren Lands. It is specifically a mounted troop as well, so the speed at which they can move, aiding both Shado and Densho, garnering that relationship. It would not be unwise to do so. I'll make my routine visits down there as needed to check up on them. It's very close to the capital. But I think that's what the plan should be for... What's her name? Zara.
Zara.
For Zara in the future. As for campaigns to the north and to the east, the north is not, with the information that has been gathered from our allies, I think we should start preparing forces to the north and start preparing for defense, not offense, with them. They have their own allies. So, should the two of them choose to join together, we would be greatly outnumbered. So being prepared to hold back, being prepared against a siege would be one thing, but pushing forward would be foolish at this point. We should simply hold our grounds and build up our infrastructure, build up our interior. However, Warlord, if you do have a taste for conquest as of right now, might I suggest, with the concerns to the north, perhaps we don't poke too much of the beast to the west of here. There is we have plans of what we should do out that direction. We all agreed on this prior. With the concerns to the north, perhaps not pushing too much further in there would be a good idea. But the east, we could easily unite our forces with Densho to the south, and perhaps even Shado if they're looking to collect some earnings along the way. The clan that's to the east of us, that could be easily defeated, and their insular lifestyle and their primitive lifestyle suggests that they would likely have little allies, and a conquest against them would be easy to provoke and succeed.
I don't disagree. The only issue is we've recently expanded quite a bit, and I would like to consolidate a little bit more. I have plans in the next months for a wall to be completed in Shinrotar. And the pier construction should be complete along that same timeline as well.
As I stated, if you have a taste for conquest, I personally think working on infrastructure is a bit more important at this point. We will stretch ourselves too thin if we try to raise and maintain too many armies and push forward on too many conquests. We don't have the financial or populist backbone to handle such a thing right now. We shouldn't do it. And Shala would chime in and say, well, I got my people in place to the north. When rumors need to be set, that's why you had me set them there. If you don't want me to provoke them yet, we can wait.
I don't. I actually have other concerns. What's her name? Go back to the right tab. Yes. Arathel. The reports I got from Zara about her conduct, it was concerning. We can... forgetting names all over the place, and it's slowing me down.
Arathel's an old guy, but that's okay. Keep going.
Yeah. So okay. So we can count on Varix to act as Varix. Arathel seems greasy, slippery, and has far too much ambition for someone in such a low station. I think we need eyes on them.
I can send somebody there. It's going to be difficult. Arathel also is somebody who's keen to look out for people watching him. We wouldn't be able to hide somebody, say, in the shadows to watch. We're going to have somebody in plain view.
Agreed. Why don't we send an ambassador?
Well, if that's the case, we should probably do so with our other ally as well. An ambassador in both places. That way it seems equal.
Agreed.
Besides, and this is Shala again, it does seem as though pretty cozy with the Perrin.
This is true. I need to make sure that he doesn't backdoor open a road for the Perrin to march right through. It's not like Tesla smells like Poland, you know?
That's rough. That's rough.
You know, like my great grandparents
know.
were from Poland.
Yep,
Okay,
we
buddy.
know.
It shows.
We
It
know.
shows.
Yep,
Yeah.
we know.
No, they eat the fuck out of Poland before 1939. Okay,
Wow.
they left beforehand.
Wow.
Anna would have
Those
liked
are-
that one.
He's a fake German. Okay, he's an Italian LARPing.
Actually, Snaga, no. This is something that was discussed off stream beforehand. The PCs are going to make the ambassadors, and funny enough, the PCs are going to role play as the ambassadors. So just so you kind of like see where this is going, this is something that's kind of like happening organically in game for something that we talked about beforehand. But the idea is that when Shado is having Shado conversations with Shado Clan, instead of Nick just sitting there with his thumb in his bum, or Jake thinking about the next person who he can sit in the corner and watch, we have them the opportunity to actually be able to role play in each other's
How you
campaigns.
turn that around on me, I have no idea.
You know, it's funny that he assumes you're the cuck. So I was, you know, maybe you're the bull. I don't know. I wasn't going to assume, but
I mean, I should be doing
Scott
Kate
assuming
L.
things.
Naito didn't even mention Irithel or anything to me. Tess doesn't know. I wasn't told about any of the
Look,
loot.
you're just worried about the parent, all right? That's you just that's all you're worried about.
I am very
pleasing the
worried about
parent.
the parent. Not surviving.
Okay.
and that's you know, as far as the treasury split, I know Joey, you said to talk about that, but in Naren's eyes, you know, bringing 100, you know, cannibalistic peons to a battle doesn't equate to 20 well-trained cavalrymen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Naren's fairly firm in the belief that the support was equivalent.
Aces in their places.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, who scouted? Was it your loud people? Did they, the scout? No, it wasn't them, was it? You know, that sort of a thing. Like, we did our job. All right, cool.
So yeah, I'm pretty confident with that plan going forward. I would like more eyes in the East, but I don't think we're going to get the internal support from our alliance that we would like at the moment. I think they're currently consumed with other issues.
Shallow, who again doesn't generally like to speak too much, just kind of like thinking for a moment, mulling it over. She does chime in and say, well, that sounds like no, actually wouldn't be her that would chime in at this point. That would be Michiko. Michiko would say, I searched, I gotta look at Michiko to make sure I have this person correct. Fluff. I pressed the wrong darn thing. Nope, not you. Yes, you. Michiko. That's right. Well, I certainly can't spend a considerable amount of time in either of those two clans, but I could bring forward the right candidate for you, someone that I think you would like in each of them, that might agree with them well enough that they would be agreeable to them, but that has loyalty to Kushibashi first and foremost.
You know your people, Shallow.
This is Michiko,
Oh, Michiko, sorry.
which is your grand diplomat.
Wow.
Shala would actually chime in at this point and say, since she got this, because you literally have 3 women in your chamber with you, these are your advisors. She says, since she has this about my people to the north, should they lie low and quiet and wait, or should they burrow in deeper and see what they can find while waiting to act?
Ooh. Okay. Who wants to roll me a d6? High is burrowed deeper. Speak up.
It's first person to roll. Don't even say me. Just
Yeah,
roll it.
Just go for it.
Joey's the big boy. If you rolled a d8, we know we rolled an 8.
Oh yeah, Joey's going deeper.
Yep.
All right. So that's what we're doing.
Okay. She just kind of like nods, and you can see this. Her mind is kind of going off and calculating. like what kind of information they should get. And I'll actually leave it to chat to suggest to Nick what kind of information they could try to procure. And don't forget to look into the Ultimate Campaign book that has suggestions of different types of espionage. Is that Ultimate Campaign? Cell?
I
No,
believe so.
Ultimate Rulership. Ultimate
Rulership, I'm fairly sure.
Yeah. Would have suggestions of which campaigns. So, which kind of things to dig for. Continuing on, Nick, back to you.
I think that's it for now.
Well, then I'd like to point out, says your general, that sending Zala to the south and having them lie low, they won't be active, so they'll save us a bit of coin, but maintaining a standing army can still be considerably expensive. We should maintain a small one to the south and a small one to the north, some who can act quick when need be to defend. But we can't stretch our coffers too thin, as we previously said. We're already going to have to invest some money into building sawmills and money into the overall infrastructure of our home. So I suggest that we get together a small army. Which, Nick, do you already have a secondary army to the north?
Correct.
How many is it?
50.
What's the consumption of that army?
Army 10. It's a good question. I have 2, but that doesn't seem accurate.
Actually, it could easily be accurate because it wouldn't be necessarily much more than the other one.
Yeah.
And how much does the standing army cost? I can't remember what a standing army is called. How much does a standing army cost?
Is it not just the normal consumption?
No. When they're just like kind of like on standby, they actually cost less than when they're actively working. When they're marching and shit.
To speak on the spy thing, I'd say probably discover major secret because you'd want to know the locations of the armies.
It's a higher check, but yeah. What else did chat suggest? Look into military structure is what one person was suggesting.
Which is kind of what major secret does anyway. So.
Okay, there you go. I don't think it's written on this book. I think that one's probably the core book for how much a the other one that has the base rules in it there. Army size. Hold on. Soldiers, equipment, camouflage, ACR, commanders, commander limits, commanding zone, significant characters, commander boons. Nothing. I don't want to keep searching for now. Recruiting, standard recruits, reinforcements, training. Training's an important thing to look into, which we'll look at afterwards. Recruiting mercs. Here we go. Cost. Oh no, that's about equipment. Fuck. All right, maintaining an army. Here we go. Abstract armed forces, active armies, reserve armies. In addition to keep the active armies in the field, a kingdom can maintain a number of reserve armies. Reserve armies do not count against the kingdom's command limit. Any soldiers in a reserve count as only 50% of their actual number in terms of kingdom's manpower limit. Once formed, reserve armies must be stationed in a specific improvement as defined in the other rules. A building, blah, 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 blah. Reserve armies are described in the mass combat. Spend most of the time going about daily work and life and so on and so forth. Hey, Snaga. They spend less than a week, blah, 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 blah. They can be put into... So, but the kingdom's action... But they cost BP equal to half their ACR in consumption. And must be paid weekly rather than monthly. Oh, wait, hold up. Time going about their... You put on active duty at any time. This does not require... Oh, gotcha. That's if they go on active. So a reserve army costs their BP monthly, I think. Do not increase your consumption based off the number of armies. Instead, the total number of soldiers in all reserved armies in your kingdom. Your kingdom's consumption increases by 1 for every 100 soldiers, or a fraction thereof. So, Nick, you could actually have 100 people in a reserve, in total reserved, and it only costs you 1 a month.
Interesting.
If you remove your army from one base to another, it increases consumption by 1 per 100 soldiers or fraction thereof that's moved for each week for during the moving time. Boom, done. Cool.
Cool.
So you can actually increase the I forget the army sizes bit, but I'm trying to get there right now. So you would keep her group of, what is it, 20? You said down there.
Yep.
And here we go. Up north, you currently have what, 50 there?
Correct.
You could, in theory, have an additional 20 somewhere else. No problems. Oh, shit. Okay, cool. Moving on. We good?
We good.
All right. Worry about that later. You'd have to form it, though, which costs money. Back to the game. Nick, you did get Winifred's Wisdom. It says specifically for Nick's roll for espionage, because I know he's going to roll bad. Oh, man, that's awesome. You can thank Joey for that one.
Thank you, sir.
Joey consistently has your back, man. All right, moving on. You, I think we're good with you. Is there anything else you needed to do?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Cool. We're going to have Jake do his kingdom rolls, and we're going to have the whole group get together and discuss their in-person thing and discuss putting together ambassadors right after we take a quick break. So why don't we take a quick break and kind of go take care of that? We'll come back and do Jake's kingdom rolls followed by that. Jake, are you ready for those kingdom rolls?
Yep.
And I can say, for the sake of what Jake wants to do, because he wants to go hunting for that ashen boar, you're going to want the kingdom rolls to happen down in your clan. Once again, it's central. And secondly, it's you're going to want to head out immediately afterwards to go do the ash boar, which we won't do this week. Okay? All right, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. I thought Nick already did his kingdom rolls. Nick did. Jake is the one that's doing it. I'm not saying it right. I'm not saying it wrong, right?
No, you said it right.
Okay, cool. Because what Joey said there, maybe Joey was just confused. All right, cool. Be right back, everybody. Mwah ha 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 ha.